Hi! So I'm black. I am black, but I'm also back today with another vlog. In my last vlog, I was talking about beauty standards and body image and how those issues had affected me in my life. And I had said that I wanted to do a follow-up where I talked about issues around, intelligence and education and how those issues have affected me in my life. So that's what I'm talking about right now. A lot of my ideas about beauty and what I looked like came from the larger culture. So media and my interactions with people, but people that were outside of my really, I would say, close influential circle. So not so much from my, immediate family and my close friends, but from other people. My ideas and my feelings about my intelligence and my brain and what it means to be smart definitely came from people close to me, most significantly from my parents. I don't remember my parents placing a lot of importance on my looks beyond just wanting me to be clean and tidy when I left the house. But they did place a lot of importance on intelligence, and specifically the type of intelligence that meant being well educated and, being a high achiever in school. That was what was really important to them. I think that was really important to them for two reasons. The first is because I was a little girl, and I think my parents were both very aware that I was growing up in a culture that placed a lot of focus on what girls looked like over and above any of their other qualities. And so I'm pretty sure that my parents decided that by focusing on my intelligence, that could be a way that they could sort of counter and mitigate that cultural influence that would tell me that the most important thing about me was what I looked like. The other more significant reason is because of being black and because of the racism that would come along with that. So both my parents grew up in segregated cultures. My mother grew up in Bermuda. My father grew up in Barbados. My father in particular, first of all, he was very, very dark skinned. So there's also like skin color prejudice. And if you're not familiar with that, it's called colorism. And if you're not familiar with that, it's basically sort of the darker your skin is, then the less respect you're afforded and the more racism you face. And the lighter your skin color is, then the better you're treated. So my father and his family really felt the effects of both racism and colorism growing up. They were extremely poor. They didn't have a lot of opportunities. People treated them very, very badly and were extremely disrespectful to them. But my father is very intelligent, and he was very intelligent. He's dead now. But yes, he was really intelligent, and again, had that sort of intellectual intelligence where he did wonderfully well in school. And because he was really smart and he was really well spoken, people would discriminate against him when they saw him, but then when he would talk to them and, he had all of these academic achievements, it would change people's minds about him and they would treat him with more respect. And because that was his experience, once I was born, he decided that if I was extremely intelligent and I was a high achiever academically, then that's what would make people respect me, because he felt, based on his own experience, that people were not going to respect me, just based on what I looked like, that I would be immediately disrespected and discriminated against. And so I needed to be really smart and really accomplished academically in order to counter people's prejudice and racism. From the time I was really, really young, my parents would tell me that I needed to perform at school. They would say to me, "Listen, Nadine, you're black and you're a girl, and you need to be twice as good as everyone else in that class to get half as much respect." They would say this to me when I was super little, like 6, 7. And I know other people whose parents have put that sort of pressure on them to perform academically. And I know a lot of people who they would just work really hard to try and, live up to their parents' expectations. Not me. So what would happen is that I already had so much anxiety around performing to my parents' standards. And I knew that if I didn't bring home those A's, that they were going to be upset with me. And so because I had that anxiety, the way I found of coping was to avoid that anxiety and to not try when I came up against subject matter or something in school that I just didn't have a natural aptitude for or didn't have sort of a natural interest in. I knew that even if I tried my hardest, and there were a couple of years where I was like, okay, I'm going to try really, really hard, I'm going to get that A, and I couldn't do it. Even when I tried my hardest and I studied a lot, I could eke out a B. And my parents would get mad at me, and they would give me the twice as good for half as much respect speech, and I felt horrible. So I just thought, I'm going to feel horrible anyway, so I'm not going to bother. Probably not the best strategy. I'm not saying that I recommend that. I'm just saying that this is what I did. So yeah, if you see my old report cards, I wish I had one to show you, but if you see my old report cards from elementary school and high school, it's an alphabet soup. I was all over the board. And there were some years where I did not so well. There were some years where I did very, very well, and the years when I did well, it was this sort of perfect combination of having a teacher who taught in a way that resonated for me, and then having a group of subjects that I found interesting. And when I got those good grades, my parents were thrilled, and they were so happy for me, and they were so proud of me, and they would usually take me out for dinner or for ice cream. And I remember, sitting there eating my ice cream cone or my burger or whatever it was, and my parents being like, "Oh, we're so proud of you! Aren't you proud of yourself?" And I'd kind of be like, "Sure, yeah, okay, uh-huh." And I was happy in those moments. Those are good memories I have from my childhood, but the happiness is a lot more connected to getting an ice cream cone and eating a burger. And I felt good, but not good in a, oh, I'm so proud of myself sort of way. It was more relief because I wasn't going to get in trouble. When I did feel good in school and about what I was doing in school was when I did something that I was really interested and invested in for myself. When I came up against, subjects, or I had to do projects and I just really wanted to do them and I really wanted to know more, I would immerse myself in them and I would be really focused and I would learn everything that I could. And then the grade was almost irrelevant to me personally. Aside from the fact that my parents would be happy, it was whatever, this was so much fun and this was so interesting and I learned all these things and I'm really happy now. That's what would make me happy, was just having that sense of accomplishment. But I had to be interested in what I was doing to have that feeling. When I was a kid and a teenager and I would come home with bad grades and my parents would be disappointed in me and they would be angry at me, that felt bad. I didn't like that. But I also felt uncomfortable when I would come home with good grades and they would be proud and excited. It'd be like, thanks, can you please stop looking at me and talking about me? Which is not like me normally. For those of you who actually know me in real life, you know that I generally do not shy away from having attention. But yeah, I didn't like getting attention for the grades thing. Even last year when I graduated with my EDD, and my mother was there, and she was super proud and super excited. And now that I have my own child, I'm like, I get that, but I was still really uncomfortable and I felt really self-conscious whenever she would, express her pride or her happiness or her excitement for me. And my discomfort around getting approval for being, smart or intelligent, particularly when it comes from my family, less so when it comes from other people, but specifically from my family, is similar to the discomfort that I would sometimes feel when I felt like when people approved of me more when I looked a certain way. And it's that I feel like both of those characteristics are things that I was just born with. I didn't choose them. I didn't choose what I look like. I didn't choose the color of my skin. I didn't choose the shape of my face. I didn't choose my body type. I didn't choose what my hair looks like. This is just what I look like. Yes, I have done things that affect what I look like to a certain degree. For example, today I am wearing makeup. I wasn't in the last vlog. How I style my hair, the clothes I wear, to some degree, you know, how I take care of myself. Those are all gonna have some effect on what I look like. Similarly, I didn't choose my brain. I didn't choose how my brain works. I didn't choose my aptitudes. I didn't choose what is struggling for me to, what is challenging for me to think through, such as choosing the right word. To some degree, I chose, or my parents chose for me, you know, the type of education I have. They chose it for me when I was younger. I chose it for myself when I was older, because I had access to those opportunities. I should mention that too. Even the fact that I was able to make that choice is somewhat arbitrary. And I've chosen what I do with my brain and how I express myself and the type of work that I do. But even then, I'm still working within parameters that I was born with. I can't suddenly make myself smarter or make my brain work in a different way. So I don't like when I feel like my worth is connected to these things that I didn't choose and I have a limited ability to control. Sort of like beauty, I think that there are standards of beauty that are cultural and societal, and they're pretty narrow and kind of made up. I feel that there are also sort of intellectual standards that are pretty narrow and kind of made up, and like no hate to you if you happen to fit those standards. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with you. I just think that there's a much broader way of looking at intelligence and what intelligence means. So those are my thoughts on intelligence and being smart, and how they relate to, or at least are similar to, some of my feelings and experiences with beauty. And this had nothing to do with sex or sexuality whatsoever, except for the fact that my brain is the thing that I use to be a sexuality educator. But yeah, this was not about sex or anything sexual at all. But I said I was going to vlog about it, so I did. So that was my vlog. Anyway, yeah, tell me some of like your thoughts or your experiences with, you know, like school or academics, or not school or not academics, or how you felt about, you know, your own intelligence, whether you feel really good about it, whether you've had some insecurities. Yeah, what are your thoughts and opinions? Let me know in the comments. And if you like this vlog, then I encourage you to give it a thumbs up. If you could share it, that would be amazing. And if you'd love to subscribe to my channel, that would be fantastic. I'm a teeny tiny channel right now, but I want to grow. So yeah, if you want to subscribe, then you won't miss any videos. Anyway, I'm not sure what I'm going to vlog about next time, but I'm going to do this more because I like this. And I hope you have a great day, and I will see you soon. Bye. So what is sex positivity anyway? Check out my last video to find out. And don't forget to follow me on Twitter, like me on Facebook, and of course, click the green button to subscribe.